Memory keeping and creative journaling does not have to be hard. It does not have to be time consuming, and you do not have to journal every single day to document your life. In fact, you can document an entire year in just 12 pages. I know because I've done it, and those 12 pages are right here in this journal, and today I'm going to share them with you. Hey there, Abiding fam, or hello if you are new. My name is Kelsey Lee, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited because today is essentially a continuation of my video on This Changed How I Journal, which you all seem to really like. I am so grateful for all of your positive feedback, and I think it's amazing that so many of you want to try month in review journaling this year too. If you have not seen that video, I do recommend you go back and watch it. And I have a few other videos related to my monthly journaling as well. So at the end of this video, I will have a playlist for you where you can watch all of them. But in this video, what I wanted to do is essentially provide a flip through of some of these month in review entries, what they look like, what I include, how do I actually create these pages in practice, and share my process with you as I flip through the last 6 months that I have done. So let's head to my desktop and start flipping through the last 6 months of my month in review pages. All right, so here we are at my desk with my journal, and I'm going to be doing a full flip through of the entire journal very soon, so definitely make sure that you are subscribed for when that comes out. But today we are just going to be focusing on my month in review entries, just so that you can see all 12 entries for the entire year. I will do a quick little flip through of the first 6 months. If you want an in-depth look at each of these entries, I have an entire video on the first 6 months, and you can watch that video next. I'll have it linked down below for you. But today, I'm going to just be focusing on the last 6 months that I've created. So that is July 2022 through December 2022. And if this is the first time you are seeing these entries, you will notice that every single month has the same layout because I set these all up at the beginning of the year just by putting the month in the center of the page. I like the idea of putting the month in the center of the page because it's a lot more freeing than in how I set up the rest of the entry. I don't have to put things in chronologically. I can just stick memories wherever. And so all of the memories kind of just revolve around the central point of the title of the month. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see these a little bit more up close, and I'll just walk you through the types of things that I document in a given month. First, you will notice that I have quite a few ticket stubs on this entry. I always recommend holding on to ticket stubs, brochures when you're traveling, even napkins or business cards that are of places that you've gone or people that you met. Those can all be great things to add into your monthly journaling. So I went to see Anastasia. The Broadway musical has been traveling around, and it came to Hershey near where I live, and I was able to go see that as my belated birthday present. Ben got me tickets back in March, and then we finally were able to go and see it in July. I also saw 2 movies, Mr. Malcolm's List and Where the Crawdads Sing. Where the Crawdads Sing was one of my favorite books in the last few years, and I have not read Mr. Malcolm's List, but I adored the movie, and I got to actually go see it with my mother-in-law. So I used this quality time sticker to represent going to see that with her, as well as getting lunch together. I have a little photo here. And then I also have a little date night sticker because seeing Where the Crawdads Sing was a date with my husband, and both of these stickers are from the same collection of stickers available on my Patreon. Same with this game night sticker, which I used to represent hanging out with some friends and playing Taboo. Another fun thing I documented on this entry, just with a little bulleted list, is things that I made this month. So lemon garlic swordfish was a very unique thing that is not in my typical meal rotation, but we happened to have some swordfish, and so I was able to make a really delicious meal. I also made sourdough brownies for the first time, and they were absolutely delicious. And as you can see, I represented the fact that I kind of started a new hobby in July, which was baking sourdough. And so I created this little piece with a photo of some bread that I made and a black post-it note and white gel pen to capture my new obsession, baking sourdough. Ben also had a guys' weekend, so I just took a photo from that for him to look back on and remember. This piece here is actually cut out from an invitation to my friend's baby shower, and so that is another great example of ephemera that you can be holding onto, invitations and cards, cutting out pieces and incorporating it into your monthly journaling. So I documented that here and then was able to document here that they had their baby, which was very exciting. I had this little piece that said appreciating what you do have and used that to capture going away for the weekend just to a tiny house that our friends own. So it was something that we were able to do this summer, even though we didn't do any giant trips. It was nice to just appreciate that opportunity to have a little getaway together. So I was able to document that. Hanging out with some friends, getting some ice cream, having a little family day at a festival I've captured here. I also talked about having a 4th of July party and the fact that Ben's nanny turned 90. And these two tiny little entries to remind me of these events are a great example of how I also like to use my monthly journaling spreads as an index for my general creative journaling, because every now and then some of these little points I want to document in a greater way. And so that is where my regular memory keeping comes in. And I actually have 2 entries here that capture the 4th of July party. So here I have that entry. I'll just show you really quick, documenting that with a bunch more photos. So this is basically the full form version of this tiny little note here. There was a 4th of July party. We had a great time. And in some cases, that might just be enough. Maybe that's all I need to say to remember the event and feel like I can remember all of the happy memories related to it on my own. But sometimes I want to be able to give myself more details to look back on, and that is when my full form journaling comes in. Same with Nanny turning 90. I really wanted to have photos of her and her family and this special day that we were able to celebrate with her. And so I was able to document those in my regular journaling, but still have it captured here on the monthly review spread so I know where it falls within the year. Next, we have August, and you can see here that I did capture the fact that I got that wonderful triangular letterpress file cabinet on Facebook Marketplace for $25. So I have a little photo of it there, and I just used some stickers and washi tape to decorate around it. I also talked about how everything is blooming at Wildwood, and I actually marked the date for that one. So every now and then I will note a specific date on these pages because I want to be able to return to this park in the future around the same time that everything was blooming. So this is a great way for me to remember that August, around the first week, is a great time to visit this park and see everything in bloom. I also captured our new home and how this was the date that we got the keys. And I took this little piece from a card that we received from somebody wishing us well with our new home and just talked about how I'm very excited about the new home, and we've been doing a lot of painting projects, and I talked about here how I have a new appreciation for my dad's work because he refinishes hardwood floors and helped us a lot ripping up carpet and refinishing our floors in our home. So lots and lots that we got done this month, but I also reflected on how there are things that I'm going to miss about where I currently live. Even though we did not move far away from our apartment, we had a gorgeous view of this little church, and I wanted to document that view and also reflect on the fact that this is something I'm really going to miss. I always like to document the books that I'm reading, and here I just used a little sticker to write the fact that Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell was my favorite read of this month and ultimately the entire year as well. I loved this book. I also talked about a new favorite mug, so new purchases or things that come into your life that you're just really excited about, even an activity or a hobby that you're newly enjoying, can be really fun to include on these spreads as well. I created a little sticker as part of one of the fall sticker collections on Patreon this month of my favorite mug. It's a little glass pumpkin, and so that was really fun to incorporate on this page. I also talked about having a fresh tomato harvest, and here I just did quick little doodles. That is something I love to do as well. Really simple doodles to capture different things that are happening. Stickers are always great as well if you're not as fond of your doodling abilities. So here I just used a sticker of a flower bouquet because our new neighbors gave us some flowers to welcome us to the neighborhood, which was very, very kind. I also love to document new favorite places. So here I just captured a new restaurant in the area that we discovered and are really, really enjoying. It's within walking distance of us, and we've already gone there multiple times since moving in. And then August is my husband's birthday month, so I created a little tip-in and used this to document some of his favorite things like camping and fishing and reading. He loves to go birding, so I have little binoculars here. So this is just a little collage of things that he loves. And then when you flip it up, underneath is a little note from his parents to him on his birthday. So I decided to just cut out that note from the card that he received, and then I created the little flap to go over it with some of his favorites. And on the back, I just used a bunch of stickers that I essentially was trying to get rid of. Next, we have September, which was a really overwhelming month for me in a lot of ways. So first was that it was moving day at the end of September. So the month of September was prepping to move, getting the house ready, lots of projects, getting our house ready, and then also getting our apartment ready to move out of, packing everything. And so I represented that just by simply writing moving day and then used a little house sticker from one of the Patreon sticker collections from this fall. And then the biggest reason that it was an overwhelming month is that it is the anniversary of losing my mom. So this was the first anniversary of her death. So I tried to honor that by putting this little card in here that just says, "Sorrow takes its own path at its own pace," which was an important reminder for me this month as I came up on a year, and recognizing that just because it's been a year doesn't mean it's something I'm ever going to get over, and time really is irrelevant to grief. And so I wanted to honor my grief by using this card. And then underneath, I wrote a little message to my mom, essentially, and the hashtag celebrating Deanna, because we had a really nice way of remembering her by encouraging family and friends to take a photo by water, whatever that meant to them. If they were hiking by a creek or visiting the beach, we just wanted them to honor her by sharing one of her favorite things, which was always being by the water. And so I was able to take a walk with Jeannie that day by a creek, and so I put that photo. And it was just really special to see everybody remembering her in that way. September is also her birthday month, so it kind of is a double whammy in terms of grieving, where you're hit with her death day and then also her birthday. So trying to honor that. And then my brother had their second child, so I wrote that in here, but that also in some ways was hard because she wasn't able to meet her new grandson. So a lot of hardship in this month, and I want to encourage you that it's okay and perhaps even recommended to honor those things too in your monthly journaling. Your monthly journaling does not only have to be positive things that have happened in your life. I try to keep mine as focused on gratitude as possible because I think that's a really important practice. But I also try to honor the fact that life is full of all different emotions. And if I'm not capturing that in my monthly review pages, then I'm doing a disservice to creating a life at a glance. And that is what I love about these entries, is that it shows the entire gamut of life. It shows death and birth. It shows sorrow and joy. It shows time with friends and time alone. It shows growth and it shows setbacks. It shows it all. You get to see that at a glance. And it's really, really a special process to create these pages and to be able to look back on them. And so I love that I can see we also had really great gatherings with friends to watch Rings of Power. And we went to a great friend's wedding, and that was so much fun. And I created some delicious comfort food, and I captured that on this entry as well. And going for a beautiful hike at Wildwood. And I read a lot. I finished a lot of books this month, and I was able to create a list here on the page. I also like to capture things that are happening in the world around me, which might also be difficult things, like the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. So there's a lot that factors into a life. And for me, one of the best things about these entries is that, yes, they show the moments of darkness, but really they show how even in the midst of those, the light is what prevails. So I hope that is encouraging to you if you are currently in a season where your months are not all happy and maybe you have some really difficult things that you would be including in your month in review entries. Know that I see you and I feel for you, and I believe that God sees you and that you are so, so loved and you are going to get through this. All right, so now let's look at October, which is really dominated by the fact that we had some of the most beautiful fall foliage I have ever seen in Pennsylvania. It truly was just stunning. So I had this great washi sticker that I was able to use on this entry alongside a cute little photo of Carragini, and then one of my own stickers of this woman holding a leaf up. And also this sticker that is a quote that says, "I can smell autumn dancing in the breeze, the sweet chill of pumpkin and crisp sunburnt leaves," by Anne Drake. This sticker too, of these two little people holding hands, those are all from my Patreon. So if you're interested in getting any of them, you can head over to Patreon to check those out. But yeah, we just documented some fun events in October. We got to hang out with my best friend in Philly, and I was also able to do a full spread of that here in my journal as well. So another great example of documenting something just briefly in the monthly journaling and then doing a full spread where I can really capture all of the details in my creative journaling. I also documented some of my DIY projects and things that I've been working on and new purchases for our home. So that was a really fun thing to include here as we slowly get our home together. I talked about having some quality time with my dad, going yard sailing. Simple little joys of life are great things to include in your monthly spreads, like finding a $2 lamp at a yard sale. Yes, even something as simple as that has made it into my month in review spread. Even those small little moments, in fact, especially those small little moments, can be so much fun to look back on. I also have a little photo of Caragini from going pheasant hunting with Ben, our little rock climbing costume, the wall and the climber for our Halloween costume. Anniversaries and reunions and things like that can be really fun to document as well, especially when you hit a major milestone. In this case, Ben hit 10 years since his college graduation, so I just captured that here on the page. This is the month that I started my new Abiding Faith tier over on Patreon. So if you are interested in more faith-related content from me, definitely check out the Abiding Faith tier because I am putting out a ton more over on Patreon. I think that covers mostly everything for October, and now we enter the last 2 months of the year. So here we are with November, and this is when we start to get into holidays and family gatherings, which is always fun. So we went to the Outer Banks again this year, so I was able to document that with some little alpha stickers, a love this place sticker. I have a little puzzle sticker from an old sticker collection over on Patreon. I also did some journaling related to my grief and Bible study while we were there, so I included this Write About What Hurts sticker. I read a lot, and so all of that kind of is the highlights reel of our trip to the Outer Banks. Also entering hibernation mode. My favorite read of the month, which was Wuthering Heights, the fact that winter really blew in, which I captured with this great sticker from my Patreon collection as well. We got to hang out with some old high school friends, which was so much fun. Of course, Thanksgiving. This is not actually a pheasant, but again, I wanted to capture hunting season. I think this is a grouse, but I felt like it looked enough like a pheasant that I was going to use it anyways. And so I have that here. And then I got to go shopping with my best friend on Black Friday. Some work-related things like our fall Board of Trustees meeting. So really capturing as much as possible here in November. Again, no blank space is the theme. I really love the look of full pages because it shows a full life. All right, really quick, here is December, and we had our first gathering at our home. So I just wrote Holy and then used my Hygge sticker from the Holiday Hygge collection. These stickers are all from that as well. That was the December collection from last year. And I'm currently reading a book called Holy Hygge, and it is all about essentially opening up our home to others. So I thought that was really fitting to include with this photo of my friends and then our little spread. I hit my goal of 50 books in 2022, and I actually ended up reading 52 books, which was so very exciting. And so I just created a little list of some of my favorite reads from December and included the illustration of A Christmas Carol that is part of the December sticker kit because we always read that every year together, or at least try to, and this year we did read A Christmas Carol aloud to each other, which was so much fun. This little quote sticker is also from A Christmas Carol and part of that collection. I did a lot of reading this month, and so I have this great little photo of reading in front of the fire with my dog and my current read. I included a tiny little photo of the book cover for Christmas with John Donne because I developed a healthy little fascination with the poet John Donne, so I wanted to capture that on the page. I also went to a cookie decorating party, so I was able to cut out a little photo of some of the cookies that I had decorated. So these are ones that I actually created, and then I also used some little cookie stickers. I wrote down some of the best gifts that I received or gave this year and talked about decorating for Christmas in our first house, which was so very, very exciting. I love decorating for Christmas, and it was really fun to get to do that in our first home. So I just have a little picture of our tree. We had one of the coldest weeks right before Christmas ever, and so I just captured the wind chill temperature of negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit. So interesting weather events are always fun to incorporate as well. I talked about a movie that we watched called I Heard the Bells, created by Sight and Sound Theater, and that was so very good. I highly recommend it. We went to lots of different gatherings, so I captured a Christmas party that I went to with women from church, and then also having a little New Year's Eve gathering with some friends. And then I think it's fun to capture sometimes those little annoyances of life, like things that happen and that you just kind of shake your head over. So I used my When It Rains, It Pours sticker from the It's Okay to Not Be Okay collection on Patreon, and just wrote a little note about how home ownership is a lot of fun until it's 3 a.m. and you are bailing out storm windows that are leaking into your basement, because part of December was dealing with a watery basement, which is not fun, but it will be perhaps a little bit fun to look back on in the future. And then the final thing that I wanted to capture for December, and is the perfect note to end on for you all, is the fact that we hit 25,000 YouTube subscribers, and that is because of you. So thank you so much. I am so grateful for every single one of you. It is hard to believe that we have hit that number, and in fact have surpassed it since then, and hopefully we will just continue to grow the Abiding family even more. So if you're not already counted in this number, which is continually growing, I would so love for you to join us. And that, my friends, is the final entry for the year. That is what it looks like to document 12 months in 12 pages. So I really hope that you enjoyed getting to see these in depth and up close, so that it gave you a greater sense of how to create your own. All right, fam, so that is it. Those are the last 6 months of my month in review spreads, and I really hope that they have inspired you to give them a try for yourself this year, whether you do it in the same type of style as me or do your own thing, create your own way of documenting your month. But I highly recommend you try documenting your month in some way. If you are going to do something like this in your own journaling, please let us know in the comments. Say hello. I would love to hear from you and how you plan on journaling this year. If you want to know more about how I'm going to be journaling this year, what journals I'm going to be using, I do have an entire video on that subject, so I'll link that up in the cards for you. I also want to say a huge thank you to all of my patrons who make this possible. If you are interested in becoming a patron to support my channel and get access to many of the stickers I shared with you in these spreads and a lot of other exclusive content, plus get to join us for my Journal With Me live stream later this month, you can check out patreon.com/myabidingjournal. Thank you again to all of my patrons. Thank you all so much for watching. That is going to be it for this video. But again, if you want to learn more about monthly journaling, definitely check out this playlist, or you might like this playlist on journaling for beginners. And until next time, keep exploring your abiding creativity and document a life abiding in faith, hope, and love.